Good late afternoon, everybody. Now it's time for episode 2 of Jack Talks, in which now I'm going to be reviewing a movie. It's a very good movie. It's a Dimensions film directed by Robert Rodriguez. It's a 3D movie. It's a 3D movie that was released back in 2000. It's a 3D movie that was released back. It's a 3D movie that was released back in 2003, and it's my all-time favorite movie, and it's none other than Spy Kids 3D Game Over. Yes, this is my all-time favorite movie. Yeah, this is my all-time favorite movie of all time. My favorite movie. This is the 2003 Collector's Edition, and I got this for Christmas in 2012. So yeah, this movie is now 11 years old. Well, almost 11 years old. It was released back on July 25th, 2003. So this came out 5 days before I turned 2. See your spine. In the back it says, family friendly, enjoyable fun, stated by the New York Times. The best Spy Kids movie yet, stated by UPN TV. It has some good bonus features. I'm gonna open this up. As you can see, there's the DVD guide. Here's disc 1, which has the widescreen version of the film, and it has Carmen and Junie. And here's disc 2 with the full screen version of the film, and it has the toy maker and some of the family members. Okay, I'm now going to review what the film is. It opens with, if you watch I'm going to review what happens in the 3D version. It's almost the same except for again, because for the 3D version, it opens with the character Foots Fugly, he's like using the thumb version of what happened in the second movie when Junie retired from the OSS. And he's explaining that today's movie is going to be in 3D. He says that the first 15 minutes of the film will be just in 2D. And he says that if your eyes get tired during the 3D section of the movie, take off your glasses, go out of the theater, go to the concession stand, buy an extra large popcorn, extra large soda. Come back into the theater, or put your glasses back on while you spend $35. Of course, then he says the line, now keep those glasses off until it's time, and enjoy the show. And then we go to the beginning of the movie, which opens with Judy Cortez walking into a water park, and he meets a girl there, in which that girl is played by Selena Gomez, who's a Disney Channel actor, and he explains why the water is closed, so then he pays him, and then he later reveals, there's one part later on, he gets a phone call from someone. He says, I'm no longer an agent, I can't help you. Whatever it is, it's your problem. Leave me alone. And then later on, when he goes up to the treehouse, Gertie Giggles comes by, and she's played by Emily Osmond, who would later play Lily on Hannah Montana. And she always says that line to him, everyone's your family. And Junie says that makes no sense. And when I was very little, when I saw this movie, I used to think that line makes sense, but now I don't think that makes sense. And the president talks to him over video chat, and he says that Carmen is missing, and Carmen is his sister, and he goes to the OSS, and he's explaining that the OSS people explain to him, Donegan Giggles and his wife, Mrs. Giggles, explained to him that the new game that was invented, Game Over, is sort of a trap. The inventor, the toy maker, are set as a trap. And now, like, when kids play it, the parents can't even get their kids' attention. And they said that they sent Carmen into the game to shut down the game, but she got trapped on level 4, and level 5 is unbeatable. So then Junie has to go into the game. So he goes inside the game, and that's when the film turns to 3D, and then he lands in Pogo Land, where all the toads are, and then he meets a beta tester, Arnold, and then he jumps onto a pogo stick, and that's where he meets another beta tester, Francis, and then he falls into a hole, and then he loses a life. He has 9 lives. But then he's able to go back to a floating world, and he meets another beta tester, Rez, and he says that if he uses like a cheat code to get to level 5, then he gets an immediate game over. So then Junie hits a target and goes to the moon, and then he brings his grandfather into the game, and he says that he's been hunting the Toymaker down for 30 years. His grandfather then walks away, and then Junie goes into the robot area, and he has to. He gets into a robot in which he has to fight a player of the game whose name is Demetra, and we don't know if she's good or bad. And then at first he starts losing the race, but then losing the fight, but then he ends up winning. And then the Toymaker is talking with these three guys who are talking who look just like him, except they're a little different. And then he goes into the game, and then the beta testers meet Junie again, and they think that Junie's the guy from the poster board that could get them to level 5, and Junie says that he's not, but they want to try and see if he really is, so then they take him to the Mega Race. The Mega Race is in which Junie finally does win the race there, and then they decide to go work together to try and to work together to get to level 5 and also find Carmen. So then they go, but then they find out that they're going to level 3, and it turns out that the programmers are there, and if they get caught cheating, then the programmers will send them back to level 1. They get caught by programmers, but luckily they escape them. And the Toymaker gives like this life pack that's very rare, where it can give a player more lives, and then but Junie gives it to Demetra. Then they go to the fighting war in which Junie and Arnold have to fight, and whoever loses the fight then gets to whoever loses then gets a game over. And of course, then Junie keeps fighting Arnold, but Arnold keeps hitting him, and then Junie gets to 0, and then he loses that life, but somehow he's lucky, and he gets 5 more lives. But then Junie gets tagged, and Demetra takes his place, and then when she's fighting Arnold, defeats her, and Demetra gets a game over. Then they move on to level 4, and that's when Junie finally finds Carmen, and then when they're walking, Carmen explains that the Toymaker was trying to get their grandpa, because the Toymaker was the one who put Grandpa in the wheelchair 30 years ago when they due to an accident. His grandfather says that's true. Then they go to Lava Mountain, and then turns out these Tinker Toys are coming. They're way worse. Turns out they're way worse. So then the grandfather and Carmen, Junie, and all the other beta testers go then and get onto like these pieces of wood, and they use them as surfboards to go into the lava. Of course, then the OSS makes a lava monster, and then it drowns them into the water, but somehow they're able to survive. And then they get to the end, and they think that Francis tells Rez that he thinks that Junie might be the deceiver who gets them immediate game overs, but then turns out Junie says that he's not, and then a guy comes in and he says he's the real guy from the poster board, and then he's able to get them into level 5, but then he gets zapped, and then he loses 100 lives, and then he gets a game over, and then Junie then finds Demetra again, and then Carmen tells her that she's really the deceiver. She's actually a hologram, and then of course then these big guys attack them, and then they find their grandfather, and he says that he shuts down the game, but he did, and then Demetra holds the switch for them because she can't leave the game. So then they all exit the game, and then the grandfather actually reveals that he actually set the Toymaker free to get revenge. So then they go outside, and it turns out robots are coming, but they can't see him, so they have to put on the 3D glasses. The characters have to put on 3D glasses in order to see him. So then they have to call all their family members to help them, and then the grandfather goes into the robot that has the Toymaker in it, and then he tells them that he forgives them for the accident. And then the Toymaker becomes good, and then they all become friends, and that's about it for the story. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for my next video, which will most likely be part 3.